So in this video, I want to share with you what I consider to be the 3 rules for building muscle at home. And if you're someone who's been following home workouts for quite some time now and you're not seeing the results you want to see, and despite putting in the effort and following the routines, you might be missing one or multiple of these rules. And by the way, if you're new here, my name is Mario Tomic. If you'd like to learn more about exercise, nutrition, how to make this a lifestyle in a simple science-based way, consider subscribing below. Also make sure the bell icon enable all notifications so you never miss an upload. And now let's dive into it. So the first rule for building muscle at home, and something that I personally struggle with quite a lot to master, is entering the zone. And what I mean by this is that when you're at home, you're in your environment and you have a lot of associations with your home environment. Often they're relaxing, chilling out after a long day of work, and you don't really have that element of being in the zone when you're trying to do home workouts. This often leads to less effort, you're not enjoying the workouts as much, you're not motivated to do the workouts. It's even hard to start the workout. And I struggled with this quite a lot myself when I first started doing home workouts, and I considered them to be first off suboptimal, so I had that limiting belief that I can't do much at home. And also I had a lot of these triggers that are pulling me away from training. I just wasn't in the mental state to put in the effort. So this meant that I was missing workouts, I wasn't looking forward to them, I felt like they were a chore, and really I didn't enter the zone when I was doing the workouts. So now what I do to enter the zone, and something you can apply as well, is I make sure that I treat the workout at home as seriously as I would the one at the gym. So I prepare myself, I get into my gym clothes, I make sure that I'm properly warming up, I make sure that I'm using my gym music, I make sure that I'm creating an environment in a place at home that I can consistently use for training. Because in the home, there's a lot of more distractions that are pulling you away from the training. If you're at the gym, everybody else is training around you, you're in an environment, you went to the gym with a specific purpose to train there. It's a different environment, different atmosphere. When you're at home, people might be watching TV, someone might be playing loud music, someone might be calling you, there's a lot of distractions, you might not be used to training at home, so there's a little bit of that social stigma, like what are you actually doing? So really this is one of the main components that I found to make a difference in the home workout, because if you're not in the zone, you're kind of just half-assing the reps. You're just putting in some work there, but it's mostly going through the motions. You're not focusing on the mind-muscle connection. You're not focusing on getting in the repetitions. You're not focusing on training to failure. You're not focusing on proper technique. You even lose count of the repetitions. And this is one of the few things that you can do to get in the zone, is make sure you're tracking your workouts, so keeping a workout log, make sure you have a stopwatch timer to make sure that you're timing your rest periods, that you're paying attention to the workout, that you're really seeing that workout as a real workout, which, as funny as that is to say this, it actually doesn't feel like a real workout for most people, because they're not in the zone. They're not treating it with enough respect, and they're not putting in the work. So even if you spend an hour, sometimes it might feel like you just wasted an hour. You don't feel like you got the result that you wanted. So this is really what you might be missing, is that ritual for entering the zone, getting in there, treating it like game on. This is the workout. I need to put in the effort. I'm going to do this right now. Allocate this amount of time. This is the sets, reps, exercise. This is what I'm going to do. And you just go there and you execute. Now, the second rule for building muscle when you're training at home is that you must, absolutely must, train with a high level of effort, meaning that you're close to failure or hitting muscular failure. This is extremely important because you're going to be training mostly with higher repetitions. Unless you have a completely set up gym at home, this is very, very important, because when you're at home, if you don't have the equipment, you basically are bound to train somewhere above 15 repetitions for the most part. You're going to be doing sets of 15, 20, 30, maybe even 40 or 50. And when you're doing sets like this with high reps, level of effort and proximity to failure is the most important component. Now, when you're in the gym, you might be used to training with sets of 5 to 8. You're doing your set, you could leave 1 or 2 or 3 reps left in the tank, and it's still gonna be fine. You're gonna make strength progress, you're gonna build muscle, it's all good. But when you're training at home, and now you're training high reps when you're used to training low reps, you will feel a completely different level of pain, discomfort, different challenge. You might not have the work capacity, and training to failure when you're training to 25, 30 reps will be a completely different experience. I personally love training below 10 reps. I love the 5 to 10, 12 rep range because I know I can challenge myself. I just find that I enjoy training at that rep range compared to training at 25, 30 reps. Say if you're doing Bulgarian split squats with a little bit of weight and you're trying to get to failure and you're doing 40, 50 reps per side, it is very, very painful. It's a whole different experience, but that's what you need. If you look at research, high rep versus low rep training from the lab of Dr. Brad Schoenfeld and general research we know so far, we need to train to failure with those high reps if you want them to be effective. And so it is hard, it is difficult. Mentally, it's a different experience and you have to get used to it. Especially if you're someone coming from that starting strength background or 5x5 background, this is gonna be a different ballgame here. So get used to it. Level of effort is very, very, very important. And sometimes when you think you're ending the set, you probably still have 5 or even 10 reps left in the tank. I know for myself personally, I get to failure, what I think is failure, and I just tell myself, look, just keep going, see what happens, and I end up having 10 more reps in that set, which I would have totally missed out on if I wasn't thinking about pushing myself. So this is really somewhere you can have to push yourself, and you're probably gonna be training alone at home and you don't have anybody there to motivate you. So it's really about you and your self-talk where you have to eke out those last 5, 10 repetitions out of those sets. This is a must if you're looking to build muscle while training at home. Now, the third rule for building muscle when you're training at home is that you must not neglect progression. This is a part that most people training at home neglect because in the gym, it is a little bit more straightforward. You can pick up heavier dumbbells, you can try to get the same amount of reps, you can add more weight to the barbell, you can add more weight to the machine. So it's pretty straightforward. There's some progression increments there that you can just pick up, easier to go, and there's more steps in between, so you don't notice a big difference. You have to have a huge jump in weight. Now, when you're training at home, you might be limited. You might not have any equipment, so you just have body weight, maybe you have a pull-up bar or some resistance bands, so you have to get more creative. Now, what I would say, if you have exercises where you're hitting already 30 reps with good form, above 30 reps even, you want to start looking for variations where you can lower that rep target and still hit failure. So for example, push-ups, if you can do 30 reps, clean push-ups, no belly bouncing off the floor, solid controlled repetitions, and you're already done with that. You can do that for 1 or 2 or 3 sets. Consider switching to a one-arm push-up, maybe from the knees. If you can't do a full one-arm push-ups for 5 reps, you can do them from the knees, you can do 10 or 15. Now, when you build that up to 25, now consider switching to a full one-arm push-up. And this is how you master body weight training and progressions with body weight training, because if you're not adding progressions, you're not really getting any growth out of that. If you keep doing the exact same amount of reps with the exact same exercises, you're not really gonna see any progress. And this is actually the biggest limit factor for most people why they're not growing from their training, not just at home, even in the gym. Most guys are getting same weight, same reps, going through the motions and expecting different results. So if you master progressions, you're gonna have a great time, you're gonna see better results. Now, this is easier for some body parts than for others. For upper body, it's generally easier to progress. You can always add a little bit of weight in the backpack, try to do more pull-ups. You can even just use pull-up bars in general, and most people can do 20 proper reps with pull-ups, so there's a lot of progression there. You can do a lot of work there. Push-ups also easier to progress. Now for the lower body, you're mostly going to be doing single leg exercises because for the most part, body weight squats, I mean, you can easily do like 30, 40, 50, 60, even 100 reps. You can do 200 reps in some cases. So in this case, you have to focus on single leg exercise. So for example, single leg doing Bulgarian split squats, pistol squats, lunges, unilateral single leg hip thrust, doing things like unilateral single leg deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, things like that. This is gonna challenge you because you're gonna use your whole body weight on one leg, and there's a lot more potential for progress there. This is where you have to get creative, otherwise you will not see results. I think most people, if anything, their upper body is gonna be completely fine doing training at home, but their lower body is gonna be severely undertrained because they're not pushing themselves, they're not finding new variations, they're kind of sticking to the same thing. And the lower body, it's trickier as well because it's gonna feel exhaustive at 50, 60 reps, but you're doing endurance. You're not really doing hypertrophy. You're not doing much to build muscle. You're just building that conditioning. You're building your endurance, but you're not really gaining size. And this is gonna be a big factor. So focus on those progressions. Think about what can you do to get yourself below that 20 rep ideally. And if you can do that, you're gonna be well on your way to see incredible progress. Even while training at home, it's definitely possible for most people, unless you're really elite If you're stepping on stage and training at home, you're definitely going to invest in some equipment, but if you're a beginner intermediate, you can gain so much training at home, so there's really no excuse to not putting the effort and really master these 3 rules and much more when it comes to home training. And what I'm also going to do here at the end, I'm going to actually leave a video which covers nutrition when you're at home as well. So check out that video. Other than that, if you want to work with me and you want my help to help you set up home training and how to progress and how to get great results, check out the link in the description below. Other than that, I will see you in that next video.